The day someone finally said, "No," the marble floors of Sterling Industries gleamed under the crystal chandeliers, polished to such perfection that they reflected the nervous faces of everyone who walked across them. It was the kind of building where even the air felt expensive, where silence carried weight, and where everyone moved with careful, measured steps. Marcus Blackwood owned all of it. At 35, he had built an empire that made other businessmen whisper his name with equal parts admiration and fear. His suits were tailored on Savile Row. His shoes cost more than most people's monthly rent. His sharp jaw and cold blue eyes had graced the covers of business magazines with headlines like "The Iceman of Wall Street" and "The CEO Nobody Dares to Cross." Everyone who worked at Sterling Industries knew the rules. When Marcus walked into a room, you straightened your spine. When he spoke, you listened. When he criticized your work, you apologized and fixed it immediately. Nobody argued. Nobody talked back. Nobody ever challenged Marcus Blackwood. The company cafeteria operated like a well-oiled machine. Executives in expensive suits lined up alongside junior staff, all maintaining the same careful silence that permeated the entire building. The food was catered by a high-end service, served on real china, because Marcus believed that even small details reflected on the company's image. For years, the cafeteria had run smoothly under the management of Mrs. Peterson, a quiet woman in her 60s who knew everyone's coffee order and never caused any trouble. When she retired, the transition was supposed to be seamless. That's when Emma Harrison arrived. Emma was 27, with blonde hair that she pulled back into a practical ponytail, warm hazel eyes, and a dusting of freckles across her nose. She came from a small town in Montana, where her family ran a diner that had served the same community for 3 generations. She had moved to the city to help her younger brother pay for college, taking whatever job she could find. The cafeteria position at Sterling Industries seemed perfect. Good pay, decent hours, and she knew her way around food service. What she didn't know was the invisible rules that governed everything within those marble walls. On her first day, Emma smiled at everyone. She asked people about their days. She remembered names after hearing them just once. Several employees seemed startled by her friendliness, as if they had forgotten that such warmth could exist in their building. "You'll want to be more reserved," whispered Janet, one of the other cafeteria workers, during Emma's second day, "especially when the executives come through. And if Mr. Blackwood himself ever comes down here, just be invisible." Emma had nodded, though she didn't entirely understand. In her family's diner, the owner always greeted customers with a smile. But she was new here, in a world very different from the one she knew. The confrontation happened on a Thursday afternoon. Marcus rarely came to the cafeteria. He usually had meals brought to his office on the top floor. But that day, he had back-to-back meetings scheduled, and his assistant had failed to arrange his lunch on time. Irritated and hungry, he decided to come down himself. The usual lunch crowd had thinned out by 2 o'clock. Only a handful of people remained scattered at tables, and they all looked up simultaneously when Marcus stepped off the elevator. The room's energy shifted instantly, as if someone had turned down the temperature by 10 degrees. Emma was restocking the salad bar when she heard the change in atmosphere. She glanced up and saw a tall man in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit striding toward the counter. His expression was hard, his movements precise and controlled. She didn't recognize him, but she noticed how everyone else had suddenly become very interested in their food. Marcus approached the counter and surveyed the remaining options with clear displeasure. His eyes swept over the pasta, the chicken, the vegetables, all of it picked over from the lunch rush. "This is unacceptable," he said, his voice cold and sharp. "This is what you expect me to eat?" Emma set down the container of cherry tomatoes she'd been holding and walked over. "I'm sorry, sir. The main lunch service ended about an hour ago, but I'd be happy to prepare something fresh for you." "I don't want excuses," Marcus cut her off. "I want competent service." Looking at this pathetic display, It's clear that this cafeteria is poorly managed. Who's in charge here? From the corner of her eye, Emma saw Janet shrink back into the kitchen. The other worker had disappeared entirely. I can help you, Emma said calmly. If you'll tell me what you'd like, I can make it for you. It'll take about 10 minutes. Marcus's eyes focused on her fully for the first time. People usually flinched under that gaze. Emma met it steadily. 10 minutes? He glanced at his watch, a platinum piece that probably cost more than Emma's car. I don't have 10 minutes. This is exactly the kind of inefficiency that I shouldn't have to tolerate in my own building. Something shifted in Emma's chest. All her life, she'd watched her father handle difficult customers at the diner with patience and grace. But she'd also seen him stand firm when someone crossed the line from difficult to cruel, with respect. Sir, Emma said, her voice still calm, but now carrying a quiet strength. You came down here an hour after lunch ended. The cafeteria staff prepared excellent food for over 300 people today. What's left isn't pathetic. It's normal for this time of day. If you want something specific, I'm offering to make it for you. But I won't stand here and let you insult people who work hard. The cafeteria went absolutely silent. Marcus stared at her, his expression unreadable. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Emma could feel her heart pounding, but she kept her shoulders straight and her gaze level. Do you know who I am? Marcus asked quietly. No, sir, I don't, Emma replied. But whoever you are, that doesn't give you the right to be unkind. For a long moment, nothing happened. Emma was certain she was about to be fired. She mentally calculated how long her savings would last while she looked for another job. Then something extraordinary occurred. The corner of Marcus's mouth twitched. Not quite a smile, but something close to it. Something that looked almost like surprise, or perhaps recognition of something he'd forgotten existed. Emma Harrison, he said, reading her name tag. You're new here? Yes, sir. Started Monday, Marcus nodded slowly. You're right, he said, and the words seemed to cost him something. That was inappropriate. I apologize. Someone behind Emma dropped a fork. The clatter seemed impossibly loud. Thank you, Emma said simply. Now what can I make for you? Marcus considered her for another moment. What would you recommend? The chicken is still good, Emma said, relaxing slightly. I could grill a fresh piece, make a side salad, and we have some excellent sourdough bread that came in this morning. If you'd like to have a seat, I'll bring it out to you. All right, Marcus agreed. He moved to a table by the window, and Emma went to work. Her hands were steady as she prepared the meal, though her mind was racing. Behind her, she could hear Janet whispering frantically into her phone, probably spreading the news of what had just happened. Emma took her time, making sure everything was perfect. When she brought the plate out to Marcus, he was staring out the window at the city below, his expression distant. Here you are, she said, setting it down. I hope you enjoy it. Marcus looked at the plate, then up at her. Sit down for a moment, he said. I should get back to, please. Emma hesitated, then pulled out the chair across from him. I've owned this company for 10 years, Marcus said quietly. In that time, exactly 3 people have told me no. My father before he died, my business partner once about something important. And now you, he paused. Everyone else just does whatever I say, whether it's right or wrong. Do you know how dangerous that is? Emma thought about it. I suppose it makes it hard to know the truth about anything. Exactly. Marcus picked up his fork. Where did you work before here? My family's diner, back in Montana. And if a customer was rude to you there, my dad would ask them to treat us with respect. If they didn't, he'd ask them to leave. Emma met his eyes. He always said that money doesn't buy the right to make other people feel small. Marcus took a bite of the chicken. Your father sounds like a wise man. He is. They sat in comfortable silence while Marcus ate. When he finished, he stood and adjusted his suit jacket. Miss Harrison, he said formally, I'd like you to report to my office tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Emma's stomach dropped. Here it comes, she thought. Am I fired? No. Marcus's expression softened in a way that transformed his entire face. I'm promoting you. I need someone in HR who isn't afraid to tell people when they're wrong, including me. Especially me, Emma blinked. I don't have any HR experience. You have something more valuable. You have integrity. Marcus extended his hand. What do you say? Emma stood and shook his hand. His grip was firm but not aggressive. I say thank you, Mr. Blackwood. Marcus Blackwood. Oh, Emma felt her eyes widen. Oh, yes, Marcus's lips quirked in that almost smile again. You just told off the CEO, and somehow you're the only person in this building who didn't know it. After Marcus left, the cafeteria erupted in whispered conversation. Janet rushed over, her eyes wide with disbelief. Emma, do you realize what just happened? I think I just got promoted, Emma said, still dazed. Or I'm hallucinating. Nobody talks to Marcus Blackwood like that. Nobody. People have been fired for way less.